Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is Lori Smith on Blog Talk Radio, and it is February 1st, 9:30 p.m. Calgary, Alberta time. And this is Child Abuse Prevention and Human Rights Abuse Prevention is up to us. And this half-hour program on blogtalkradio.com, and it's a live streaming internet radio program, and you can phone in if you'd like. I have a guest call-in number, and I'm really excited to be here tonight. I'm always excited to be here. This is it's just awesome to be able to share resources and share information, and that's what I believe is the key to child abuse prevention and human rights abuse prevention is up to us. It's it's all about education and spreading the word and getting the word out that it needs to stop, first of all, and that we need to get to the source of the problem, and the only way to do that is by educating ourselves. So I'm happy you can be here. The guest call-in number 917-889-3736. My chat room is up and running, but I don't have any resources typed in there tonight. Yeah, it's great. I'm so glad to be here. I thought we'd talk tonight. All last week and maybe the last couple of weeks we've been talking at night about the male victims of sexual abuse and also domestic violence and abuse, and we covered the topic pretty good. And you can never cover a topic enough, really. But we're going to move on tonight to understanding stress, and of course I found this information on Help Guide. I like their website, and I do use a lot of their material to read from because I learn a lot from it myself, and I just find that it's great material to pass on to everybody else, and it's worth looking at. So you can find that at www.helpguide.org, and it's called Understanding Stress, and you can find it by just going on their website and just scrolling down to look at all the different topics that they cover. And they do have a lot of information on there about all kinds of things. And really it's called helpguide.org, Understand, Prevent, and Resolve Life's Challenges, right? So it's a nonprofit use. It's a great website for all kinds of info. I really like it. So that's what we're going to cover tonight and Wednesday night and maybe even Friday night. We'll see. But stress is such a huge issue. I know everybody experiences stress, and I know times, just at different times, you can be more stressed out than other times, just depending on what's in our lives, right? And so I thought we should talk about stress because I think child abuse issues and human rights abuse issues are very stressful. And if you've grown up around abuse, then you would know all about stress. And most of us, even if you haven't experienced abuse of any kind, which is wonderful, you still understand what stress is, and you still have stress in your life because life can be very stressful. So that's why I thought this is a great topic to cover, because it just kind of encompasses all of us, right? Not just people who were abused, but people who grew up in normal, healthy families. They still experience stress too, right? So it really affects us all, and I thought it would be good to cover it. So you can find this information, www.helpguide.org, and we'll be on for about 26 minutes here tonight talking about this. And you're welcome to phone in with, if you have any comments or, excuse me, if you have any kind of resources that you might want to offer, references that you think people would find beneficial when dealing with issues of stress. And for instance, post-traumatic stress disorder and things like that. I've got some resources I'm going to read out over the air here tonight, which most of you, if you've listened to my shows, they're pretty much the same ones that I've been reading out before, because I really need to get on and find some new resources. But these ones I like to keep repeating because they are so good, and I actually, participate in their websites. I don't do anything on their websites, but what I do is I if they have a self-help manual or a self-help workshop, I generally try to get in on it because I'm always looking for ways to deal with my own stress and my own situation. And so it's great material, and they're great websites, and I wouldn't recommend them if I didn't think they were really worth looking into. And I'll just go do a little housekeeping here. It's not a professional show. This is, I don't have any professional certificates or counseling certificates, therapy certificates. I'm just a person who sits on Blog Talk Radio, and I just care about people, and I think that, the reasons why so many people suffer today around the world is just because there's so many reasons for it, but the only way we're going to ever solve anything is by raising our voice, first of all, and by becoming educated on the topics related, right? So that's why I just decided to do this show, right? Because it's so important to me, because I really care about people, and I know that there's so many people out there who are suffering right now, and with no relief in sight. And I just want you to know you're not alone. There is help out there. You do have to reach out, and a lot of times people won't notice that you're suffering, and they might not realize it. And so it's up to you most of the time to reach out. I know in my case it was, and until I started reaching out, I didn't realize that there was so much help available. It didn't even occur to me that there would be groups that would be like support groups. I've met so many people that a lot of people that listen to my show actually are my friends who are part of these support groups, and other advocates that I've met along the way, child abuse advocates and human rights advocates. It's amazing the amount of support that is out there, but I didn't know until I started to reach out, because no one knew that I was going through all of this, right? So, I never made it really public until just recently. So that's why I say just hang in there, and if you need some resources, if you need some information, be sure and get a hold of me. But we'll start reading this article here, and I wanted to say, please listen at your own discretion, and if it's something that bothers you, if it's a topic that bothers you, please don't listen to the show. It's your responsibility to look out, really to be aware of what might trigger you and what might cause you to be uncomfortable. So if the topics of abuse bother you, then please don't listen to the show. And if you think it's just going to be too much for you, I'd rather you not listen to the show, because that's why, because I do care, and I want everybody to be in a safe place, right? So if you're unable to handle the topics that surround child abuse or child sexual abuse or any kind of abuse, domestic violence or whatnot, please don't listen to the show, because I don't want anybody to go away feeling bad, right? It's all about healing and getting better and moving on and finding out what the whole issues are, and then moving on from there to so that we can all learn that we're not alone and that we can get help, right? So that's just care, and I just want people to understand and really to look out for themselves, right? So I'll start reading here. It's a great article called Understanding Stress: Signs, Symptoms, Causes, and Effects. Modern life is full of hassles, deadlines, frustrations, and demands. For many people, stress is so commonplace that it has become a way of life. Stress isn't always bad. In small doses, it can help you perform under pressure and motivate you to do your best. But when you're constantly running in emergency mode, your mind and body pay the price. If you frequently find yourself feeling frazzled and overwhelmed, it's time to take action to bring your nervous system back into balance. You can protect yourself by learning how to recognize the signs and symptoms of stress and taking steps to reduce its harmful effects. So this is so important for me and for anyone out there who has a very hectic life. You find that things are just too much, and there's just too much going on, and it becomes almost unmanageable. Then you know there's something wrong, because these little triggers will come, and you'll be like, wow, I'm just feeling so stressed, right? I'm so tired. Why can't I deal with this, right? And that's just a sign that it's just too much. And we're going to find out how what stress is, effects of chronic stress, and this article covers all those, and plus how much stress is too much and causes of stress. All kinds of great information here. So we'll keep reading. What is stress? Stress is a normal physical response to events that make you feel threatened or upset your balance in some way. When you sense danger, whether it's real or imagined, the body's defenses kick into high gear in a rapid automatic process known as the fight or flight reaction, or the stress response. The stress response is the body's way of protecting you. When working properly, it helps you stay focused, energetic, and alert. In emergency situations, stress can save your life, giving you extra strength to defend yourself, for example, or spurring you to slam on the brakes to avoid an accident. The stress response also helps you rise to meet challenges. Stress is what keeps you on your toes during a presentation at work, sharpens your concentration when you're attempting the game-winning free throw, or drives you to study for an exam when you'd rather be watching TV. It says, but beyond a certain point, stress stops being helpful and starts causing major damage to your health, your mood, your productivity, your relationships, and your quality of life. And effects of chronic stress, we'll just keep reading here. The body doesn't distinguish between physical and psychological threats. When you're stressed over a busy schedule, an argument with a friend, a traffic jam, or a mountain of bills, your body reacts just as strongly as if you were facing a life or death situation. If you have a lot of responsibilities and worries, your emergency stress response may be on most of the time. The more your body's stress system is activated, the easier it is to trip and the harder it is to shut off. Long-term exposure to stress can lead to serious health problems. Chronic stress disrupts nearly every system in your body. It can raise blood pressure, suppress the immune system, increase the risk of heart attack and stroke, contribute to infertility, and speed up the aging process. Long-term stress can even rewire the brain, leaving you more vulnerable to anxiety and depression. And it says here, many health problems are caused or exacerbated by stress, including pain of any kind, heart disease, digestive problems, sleep problems, depression, obesity, autoimmune diseases, skin conditions such as eczema. So this is the kind of stuff that can happen, if our body stays in that ultra alert stage, where the stress response is just on all the time, right? Because we're just faced with too much stress, right? It doesn't matter what kind it is. It's the same physiological activities going on in the body to produce that stress response, right? So it doesn't matter what the stress is. The effects are the same, and it can lead to all kinds of health issues, right? And even chronic stress, right? It disrupts nearly every system in the body, it says. So it's a serious issue, and people today, with the lives that they live, I know, even myself, I don't have children, and I'm busy, and I think, man, I can't imagine having trying to cope and also to raise a family, and it must be incredibly hard. You'd have to have a very good support system, and also you'd have to have be very organized, right? So I thank you to all you parents out there, and I do commend you. And I know myself, I'm busy, and so I give you a lot of credit because I'm it's just me, and I'm busy, so I can imagine how busy you are. And so that's why I think that it's so important to take a look at stress, because I think stress, chronic stress issues really lead to a lot of problems and are kind of really the indicator that there's real problems. And I felt growing up in an abusive home, I was always quite stressed out, and it's just from being around a lot of people shouting at each other and obscenities and sometimes violence and sometimes physical abuse, and you just never knew what was going to be happening at the house. It was like whether the police would be there or the ambulance, or it was always quite stressful. And so I was always stressed out. Even I'd wake up in the morning and I'd start my day stressed out, and I'd end the day stressed out, and that's just how my life was. And so even today, I find that certain things will stress me out, and I'll find myself feeling that same kind of overload, And if things are going pretty smooth in my life, then it kind of backs off, right? If things are just going smoothly and everything seems to be okay, but the minute anything comes up, then I'll be, then I'm stressed out again. Right, and then because I smoke, then I quit smoking for 14 months, but stress is what caused me to break down and buy another pack of cigarettes. So stress is such a huge issue in people's lives, and it can affect just anyone, children, adults. It doesn't matter, there's no age or barrier, there's no gender barrier to stress. It really affects all of us, and it's a huge issue, and that's why I thought it'd be so good to take a look at this, and probably we'll continue on looking at it, as well as the other disorders that just kind of come right after it, right? So yeah, we'll just keep reading here. How much stress is too much? Because of the widespread damage stress can cause, it's important to know your limit. But just how much stress is too much differs from person to person. Some people roll with the punches, while others crumble at the slightest obstacle or frustration. Some people even seem to thrive on the excitement and challenge of a high-stress lifestyle. Your ability to tolerate stress depends on many factors, including the quality of your relationships, your general outlook on life, your emotional intelligence, and genetics. So I guess it's quite a few different things that kind of, sort of make up the whole how much stress we can actually tolerate, right? Things that influence your stress tolerance level: your support network, A strong network of supportive friends and family members is an enormous buffer against life's stressors. On the flip side, the more lonely and isolated you are, the greater your vulnerability to stress, right? Because you're on your own and you have to deal with everything on your own, right? And that's why it's great to have a support network. For years I just sat on my own. I didn't, I had a couple of friends, but they weren't really all that supportive. I had one friend who was kind of supportive. I'd say quite supportive. But most of my other friends were just kind of acquaintances, and I didn't have a good support network for people to come by and say, how are you doing? You know what I mean? Can I help you with anything? You're looking a little stressed out. And I didn't ever say anything to anybody like, wow, can I get some help here, right? And I do need some help. And that's why I say, you're not alone. And if you're experiencing these things, just remember that you're not alone. And there's groups and great awesome workshops people can work through and professional help and therapy. There's just ways to get to learn how to cope with this and learn how to cope with these things. And we don't have to be on our own in silence, just suffering along by ourselves, right? That's just a sad way to be. And I'm finding that out myself, right? That I should have reached out years and years ago, right? And it says here, your sense of control. If you have confidence in yourself and your ability to influence events and persevere through challenges, it's easier to take stress in stride. People who are vulnerable to stress tend to feel like things are out of their control. Because, if you feel like you have a bit of control in your life, then you won't be so stressed out. As somebody who thinks they have no control over anything, that means anything could happen, right? And all of a sudden, when things do happen, then it just sort of, solidifies that thought, and then they start thinking, yeah, for sure, nothing's in my control, right? And so, the sense of control is very important. It says your attitude and outlook. Stress-hardy people have an optimistic attitude. They tend to embrace challenges, have a strong sense of humor, accept that change is a part of life, and believe in a higher power of purpose. I think that that's probably the only thing that got me through. Honest to God. In our home, it wasn't funny, and we still had some good times. I mean, I'm not saying we never had any good times. My mom, she would try and there would be times that things were pretty normal and peaceful and she would bake cookies and do things like that, and we'd have Christmas and stuff. But the thing is in between times, when it got really rough, it was really hard. And so many people are suffering in that situation all the time, right? So we all or a lot of us know what that's like. But stress-hardy people have an optimistic attitude. I always kept an attitude that, there was a higher power or purpose, and I like to keep a good sense of humor so I could laugh at myself and laugh at life, And my friends were good about that, because my friends, when we grew up, we'd try to kind of, encourage each other that way. And I think it's really important to keep a positive outlook no matter what situation you're in, because it can only help the situation, right? If you want, I know myself, as soon as I let my attitude goes down, then I start looking at things in a different way. But if I keep my attitude positive, and no matter what the situation, like my partner, he's terminally ill and stuff, and we could have let that completely ruin our the rest of our lives together, right? But we decided on the spot. We said, we are not going to let this get us down. We are not doing that. We're going to keep a good attitude, and we're just going to enjoy the rest of however many days you have left. We're going to enjoy them. Well, 9 years later, he's still here, and we've had the best relationship, a person could ask for. So attitude and outlook really have a lot to do with it. But if you need to have some good people around you that can help to sort of influence that around you, right? You want to hang around with people who have a positive attitude and who have a good outlook on life, right? Because you need to have, I know myself, I need to have people in my life that are positive and that at least are willing to try to be positive, because no one's going to be positive all the time, right? I mean, we have days where, things just aren't working right and we're just kind of like blah, but then there's other days that, you can encourage someone and you can say, oh, no, but it's okay because we're going to make it. And, we always make it. We do make it, but you have to try and really have to put some effort in there, right? Because otherwise it just gets worse from there, right? You got to keep a real check on your outlook on life and just keep looking forward and keep making goals, setting goals, even just small goals so that you can achieve them, right? I know I used to set some pretty big goals, and then they wouldn't come. I'd be like, well, by the time I'm 90, I want to be. But set some real, easy kind of goals that within a short period of time, 6-month goals that you can achieve, and then once you get there, you're like, yes, I did it. It's these little things, I think, and people might think that's really kind of corny or something, but it's these little things that you can do just to kind of whatever it is to help you kind of feel better about things, right? Because everybody deserves to have a nice life, and I just think it's so important. And with the stress in the world today, and the stress of the times, the economy, and just the whole situation, there has to be something, even the little things that kind of pull us through, and making some good friends, and finding some support, and lending a hand when you can, and just these little things. I think they really mean a lot. I know they do in my life, and. There's many times that a person could just say, "Oh well, I'm just going to give up, and I'm not even going to try because why should I?" Well, that's a wrong attitude, because the minute you give up and stop trying, that's when you know for sure it's not going to go good, right? You have to keep going, and that's my big thing. I'm always just like, keep walking, because I know that's what happened to me. I was ready to give up, and many times, and I didn't do it, thank God. But I was so ready, and I was so tired, and I thought, I'm so tired. I'm like in my 20s, and I feel like I'm 100 years old. I've lived like 5 lifetimes. I'm exhausted, and I thought, no, I have to keep going, I kept pushing myself just to keep going. I was like, I don't care what the day is. I'm just going to keep walking it out. And so, today I'm so thankful that I was able to do that. And if you can't do that, you need to find someone that can help you do that, because it is so important. I want you to stay here, and I want you to have a good life. And, if you need resources, or I belong to quite a few groups that are so supportive, and if you need resources or help, please get a hold of me. I have a caller on the line, and that's area code 708. Hi there.
Hi, I just wanted to ask you a quick question. Why aren't you in the kitchen making me a fucking sandwich?
Bye. Yeah, well, we had a little visitor there. So, your ability to deal with your emotions. You're extremely vulnerable to stress if you don't know how to calm and soothe yourself when you're feeling sad, angry, or afraid. The ability to bring your emotions into balance helps you bounce back from adversity. So it's quite important to learn how to deal with their emotions, right? And if you're feeling sad, or you're feeling down, or things just didn't go well, or maybe you lost your job, or because this happens to people, right? And all of a sudden you're thinking, oh man, I don't know if I can cope, right? Well, if we can bring our emotions into balance, it says, then we can bounce back, a little quicker, right? As long as we realize that, okay, I'm feeling these things now, but I can work around them, right? And especially if you have someone to talk to, I think that's just the most important thing is having friends and having a support system, right? And it says your knowledge and preparation. The more you know about a stressful situation, including how long it will last and what to expect, the easier it is to cope. For example, if you go into surgery with a realistic picture of what to expect post-op, a painful recovery will be less traumatic than if you were expecting to bounce back immediately. So I guess we're supposed to be realistic about how long this sort of thing could be taking place. Like, if we lose our job, then we know we're going to be off work for a while, so we just say, well, okay, I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to be realistic. It could be a while till I get a job. And this way, we can kind of talk ourselves through these situations, right? And it sort of helps to put it in place that it is just temporary, and that we don't have to add more stress to the situation, right? It says, am I in control of stress, or is stress controlling me? When I feel agitated, do I know how to quickly calm and soothe myself? And then it says, can I easily let go of my anger? Can I turn to others at work to help me calm down and feel better? When I come home at night, do I walk in the door feeling alert and relaxed? Am I seldom distracted or moody? Am I able to recognize upsets that others seem to be experiencing? And do I easily turn to friends or family members for a calming influence? When my energy is low, do I know how to boost it? So those are some of the questions they just put there so that you can answer those yourself, and you can say, am I really in control of stress, or is stress controlling me, right? And it's just so important, that we actually know and understand that stress is it's normal, and some stress is good, and then other stressors are not so good. And I just think it's because of the situation that most people are in these days, it's important to know kind of how to deal with stress, and that it's okay to have some stress, but we don't want to have too much stress. So that's I think it's a great article. We're going to look at the causes of stress. The situations and pressures that cause stress are known as stressors. We usually think of stressors as being negative, such as an exhausting work schedule or a rocky relationship. However, anything that puts high demands on you or forces you to adjust can be stressful. This includes positive events such as getting married, buying a house, going to college, or receiving a promotion. What causes stress depends, at least in part, on your perception of it. Something that's stressful to you may not faze someone else. They may even enjoy it. For example, your morning commute may make you anxious and tense because you worry that traffic will make you late. Others, however, may find the trip relaxing because they allow more than enough time and enjoy listening to music when they drive. So, what stresses me out might not stress you out, sort of thing, right? And because we're all different, right? And so all this, we would certain things would stress me out wouldn't stress you out. So it's quite interesting. Common external causes of stress. Not all stress is caused by external factors. Stress can also be self-generated. For instance, major life changes, work, relationship difficulties, financial problems, being too busy, and children and family. Common internal causes of stress. It says not all stress is caused by external factors. Stress can also be self-generated, like inability to accept uncertainty, pessimism, negative self-talk, unrealistic expectations, perfectionism, and a lack of assertiveness. And then it says, what's stressful for you? What's stressful for you may be quite different from what's stressful to your best friend, your spouse, or the person next door, for example. Some people enjoy speaking in public, others are terrified. Some people are more productive under deadline pressure, others are miserably tense. Some people are eager to help family and friends through difficult times, others find it very stressful. And some people feel comfortable complaining about bad service in a restaurant, others find it so difficult to complain that they prefer to suffer in silence. Some people may feel that changes at work represent a welcome opportunity, others worry about whether they'll be able to cope. And so this is the thing. It just depends on the person and how you deal with stress. And everybody's different, right? So I think on Wednesday night we'll look at signs and symptoms of stress overload, and we'll take a look at dealing with stress and its symptoms. And we'll keep going with this information here. I just have a few resources I wanted to pass out. This is Heal My PTSD. Michelle Rosenthal, she was on my show not too long ago, and what a nice lady. She is the founder of Heal My PTSD LLC. She's got a website, www.healmyptsd.com, and their website's awesome. They got links, causes, symptoms, therapy, talk therapy, all kinds of different types of therapy, because she suffered with post-traumatic stress disorder for a long, long time, I think 25 years, and she's 100% PTSD free. And so she just wants to help people realize that you can get past it and that there's ways to do it. She has a Bridge the Gap Healing workshop on her website that I haven't gone and done yet, but I plan on doing it. And she's awesome, and I really recommend her website. There is also Points with Purpose. This is www.pointswithpurpose.com for female and male survivors and supporters of sexual abuse and domestic violence. And this is a group that you can join to find support. Like, if you're feeling stressed and you just need some support, that's where you can get it. These groups are set up for people that just need a hand and need some help, right? And just need an ear and a shoulder, somebody who cares and knows what they're going through, right? There's Men Are Survivors Too, resources for male and female victims on Facebook. John Schmidt, he's a good friend of mine, president and founder. You can find this on Facebook by just typing in the search area, Men Are Survivors Too, resources for male and female victims. That's a great support group. There is NorCal Domestic Violence and Sexual Abuse and Domestic Violence group out of Northern California, and that's I'm running out of time here, but I do have all these resources and lots more. So if you need some resources, please stay on in the chat room and I can help you with that. Dreamcatchers for Abused Children. I'm a volunteer and their website is just awesome. http dreamcatchersforabusedchildren.com. And this is just some great information. get a hold of me if you need some resources. I have lots more, and I'll be back on tomorrow morning, 5:30 in the morning. And I just hope you're all well. Make sure you reach out and get some help, and get that support that you need. Have a great night, everyone.